is oil palm, and then we have rice. Okay, even though rice tu yang we consider kita makan kan, oil palm pun is based for cooking oil and so on, and also including the cocoa. Okay, theobromine cocoa, and then we have stock product. Okay, stock product meaning that we are not focusing on the stock product itself, but we're focusing on pest. Since sometimes stock product ni maksudnya barang atau how to say, makanan yang you simpan, either like dry, maybe dry coconut, or maybe dry meat, maybe rice bukan rice kamu makan, which is yang not yet cooked, and then mungkin juga flour. So tu adalah we consider as a stock product. Okay, so we will going to see juga pest for the stock product. Okay, first of all, we focus on paddy. So which is remember paddy, Oryza sativa. I hope you can remember the name. Okay, species name Oryza sativa. So our pest of paddy can be divided into 3 large group, which is first leaf and plant eating. Maksudnya dia ada mulut yang chewing. Okay, and then second group, which is leaf and plant sucking. Okay, of course the piercing sucking punya insects. And then another part we have root eater. Okay, root eater is actually chewing juga. Cumanya they specialize only on roots rather than eating on other part of the plant. So dia tak makan leaf or shoot ke fruits or so on. So they're focusing on root. Okay, so for the leaf, of course, when chewing, you have the most important order, which is Lepidoptera. Okay, and then another one is Orthoptera. And then for leaf sucking, of course, since it's sucking insect, you have order Hemiptera. And for the root eater, we have Orthoptera as well, which is only represented by one species, which is mole cricket. Kita tengok. Okay, so first of all, leaf and plant eating insect, which is Lepidopteran tadi. So first specimen or first insect, first pest is Naphalocrosis medinalis, which is rice leaf roller. Okay, based on dia punya nama dah, you can imagine that dia ni duduk dalam the paddy punya leaf and then roll. Okay, so family is Crambidae. This is old name, or the new name is Spiralidae. Okay, other name is still acceptable. Okay, and then the symptom of damage, the larvae stay within the leaf, roll, okay, and feed on the leaf tissue by scraping the surface, which is part of chlorophyll, okay, and consequently forming elongated white scar on the leaf blade. Okay, as a picture, as you can see here, yang ni dah terbuka lah, but it's actually roll inside the leaf, okay, and then the scrap part hijau ni, as you can see, dia dah jadi macam bila dah makan dia jadi transparent, right? Okay, and then each larvae will eat 3 to 4 leaf before turning into pupa. Maksudnya sepanjang hayat dia, satu ekor larvae akan makan 3 hingga 4 daun. Okay, and then infested leaf, of course, bila dah tak ada part hijau ni, tinggal yang you see a transparent part, of course the leaf will dry, and 90% of the damage caused by larva instar 4 and 5. Okay, which is the end, we can say the mature larvae instar. Okay, 4 dan 5. Remember instar bila dia molt, okay, from mula-mula dia hatch dari eggs jadi first instar larvae, and then again molt lagi jadi second, third, and then fourth and 5, which is the one that eat a lot and cause 90% of the damage. Sebab dia, if you see here, dia maksudnya during this insta, dia makan banyak. Okay, only 10% contribute by first to third insta. Okay, of course it depend on the size jugalah. Bila dia mold into fourth and fifth insta, you can imagine dia punya size dah bertambah kan. Dari yang very small after hatching tu, of course dia bagi damage and sikit. But at the end, bila dia dah membesar, then of course they will eat a lot before pupate. Okay, the life cycle, adult which is 3 to 10 days, eggs between 5 days, maksudnya after 5 days they will hatch, and larvae, they mold into 5 insta larvae between 20 to 25 days. Okay, around it's depend, but actually it's around 5 day per insta, around that one lah. But sometimes yang earliest insta tu dia mungkin ambil masa around 3 to 4 days sahaja. Okay, and then pupa 5 to 7 days, and then after that they will emerge as the adult. Okay, this is the damage. As you can see, dia punya daun bergulung. Okay, they will eat inside. Okay, to control these insects, usually they apply insecticide like acephate, malathion, or gamma benzene hexachloride, or BHC. Okay, let's say if you found it's hard to wrote gamma benzene hexachloride. Okay, for the, let's say I asked about the chemical control, you can use BHC only. Maksudnya kamu tak perlu tulis the name gamma benzene hexachloride tu panjang kan. So kalau payah, you can just use BHC and I know what it mean. Okay, tapi jangan pula create all other name, but because BHC ni kita accept nama dia sebab terlalu panjang. And then, okay, when it reach ETL, 20 insect per hill. Okay, ETL ni apa benda pula? So, economic threshold level. Okay, meaning that when we consider from the part of, how to say, integrated pest management, okay, sebelum start spray insecticide, sebelum start chemical spraying, okay, you have to understand that there are a threshold which is economic injury level and then economic threshold level. Economic injury level, you can imagine kalau bentuk graph, later kita akan belajar in detail about ETL dengan AIL, but you can imagine that ETL is actually the highest limit, where if you did not use chemical during this time, this level, maksudnya you will facing kerugian in term of profit, in term of management and so on lah. Maksudnya kena juga guna chemical control during this time. Otherwise you can use like biocontrol, cultural control, but if the insect exceed 20 insect per hill, okay, meaning that you have to spray, otherwise kamu takkan dapat hasil. Okay, hill ni maksudnya kat sini, okay, when you mungkin kamu tak pernah tengok orang tanam padi, okay, ataupun mungkin tak pernah tengok real pokok padi tu dia tumbuh macam mana. Hill is actually like a bunch tau. Selalunya orang akan tanam satu tumpuk padi adalah around 3 to 4 plant, maksudnya around macam tu. And then plant ni pula, dia, sebab padi kan keluarga rumput, so you can imagine dia membiak ataupun nak kata bercabang, not actually bercabang, tapi dia akan keluar anak dari base tu kan. So dia akan jadi bertumpuk, satu tumpuk. So that's why we call it hill. Okay, dia bukan tumbuh sepokok jarak-jarak, no. It's actually around setumpuk tu ada 3 hingga 4 pokok, selalu orang tanam macam tu. And then tak pun dia akan membiak jadi macam a few plant based on dia punya asexual kan. Remember dia boleh membiak asexual producing another offspring sebelah dia. So tu yang kita panggil heal. So satu bunch tu, if the pest exceed 20 insect, 20 individual, meaning that you have to spray chemical control. You have to use chemical control like BHC as well as Cephate or malathion. Okay, so kena juga control based on 20 insect per hill. So to understand this, maksudnya kamu kena tahulah, pergi field tengok, okay, kalau satu bunch tu ada lebih daripada 20 insect, then you have to spray. Okay, for biocontrol, most of the insect predator lah, later we will see the list of the insect predator yang usually available at the paddy field. And then for control, for cultural control, avoid using excessive fertilizer. Okay, why? Because if your plant is too healthy, dia akan producing, bukan hanya producing a lot of what they call tangkai buah tu, tapi dia juga nampak terlalu cantik. Daun dia macam very like a glossy green. So this type of characteristic, dia akan attract more pests to come. So that's why we have to avoid using excessive fertilizer. Just use amount of fertilizer that is suitable for the plant to produce high yield. Okay, instead of producing plant yang sangat cantik. Okay, so tu is one of the control for cultural part. And then second pest also Lepidopterans, the same family, Pyralid, but here is the stem borer. So sebut stem borer meaning the focusing, dia punya attack target is actually a stem. And then of course it's bore inside lah, stem borer, right? So symptom of damage, the hash larvae eat on leaf first, okay? So the first hatching larvae, which is around first to second instar, they will eat on the leaf, but then soon bore into the stem and feed on the inner surface of the wall, the stem wall. Okay, and larvae continue to bore into the stem, weaken the plant, and then the plant of course eventually die lah. Sebab since you can imagine batang padi dia masuk kat dalam, so hanya tinggal bahagian luar je lah, kat dalam tu dah kosong. So of course the plant will die. And then if this pest attack the one yang kita panggil heart atau yang area where pokok padi tu produce tangkai buah, okay, tangkai bunga dan buah, it will cause dead heart, call it center leaf hole, turn brownish and then dry off. So yang tengah-tengah tu akan kuning dulu instead of yang kat daun-daun kat tepi. Okay, and then of course akan jadi kering and matilah. Okay, infestation during milking stage cause white empty seed known as whitehead. Okay, milking stage maksudnya, okay, bila kamu bercakap pasal padi, bila padi tu dah berbunga and then dah produce buah, sebelum dia jadi beras yang kamu makan, which is hardened white part tu, it's actually awal-awal tu dia in form of like milk. Okay, maksudnya dalam bentuk liquid. So if the infestation happen during this time, dia tak makan buah. It is not directly eat on paddy tau. It's eat on the stem. So tangkai padi tu kalau dia makan during this time, meaning that of course your paddy cannot develop, and then dalam tu dia just jadi empty seed. Nampak ada buah tapi it's actually empty, tak ada apa-apa, kosong. Because sap ataupun kita kata bahagian air yang part yang xylem or flower untuk angkut nutrien ke bahagian buah tu dah tak ada, sebabnya dia dah dimakan oleh this borer first. Okay, so the life cycle almost similar kan, 4 to 5 days, eggs 0 to 5 days, and larvae 30 to 35 days, a bit longer instead of it, the first one tadi. Okay, yang ni bertambah 10 hari. Remember tadi 20 hingga 25 hari, but this one 30 to 35 days. And then pupae 7 to 9 days. So this one actually have a little bit longer life cycle compared to the previous one. This one is Scipophaga incertulas. Okay, here is the picture of the image. As you can see, this is actually the stem. Okay, this is the larvae, it's born inside. Okay, yang nampaknya kat luar ni je. Kalau kamu tak buka, tak belah kat dalam ni, you won't see the insects. Okay, and then they will eat until sampai kita kata bahagian umbi. So yang ni kosong. Of course air dan ada especially air lah kan. It cannot be transport to other part of the plant lah kalau dia dah start dekat umbi lagi. Okay, so this is the picture of adult. Ni yang previously nampak lagi clear lah. Okay, and this is the white head bila dah paddy tu infested during milking stage by this insect. So dia makan kat batang and then of course kat sini padi tak akan develop. Kamu nampak dia macam putih-putih ya. It's actually dah empty inside. So how to control? Still we have chemical, biological and cultural control. So you can either apply carbofuran and quinalphos, and also you can use the BHC tadi, gamma BHC or endosulfan after planting. Usually when we are talking about lepidopteran pests, okay, you can use one chemical as usually to control a lot of species for the lepidopterans. Maksudnya dia selalunya bukan specialized dekat satu-satu species sahaja. So kamu guna satu chemical, they actually apply to most of the species. And then biological control, we have parasitoid, which is trichogramma. Okay, trichogramma is actually parasitoid in the order of Hymenopterans, a very small parasitoid. So this trichogramma usually either parasitize on larvae or in the eggs itself. Okay, it's very small, so sama ada dia akan parasitize pada telur Scipophaga incertulas or the larvae. And for cultural control, you can plough and burn rice straw after harvest. Okay, sebab kalau katalah straw kamu tak buang dari tempat kira harvested tu, after the harvest, that kind of rice straw, it can be or it can act as a alternate host ataupun katalah kamu dah harvest padi pun kan, tapi straw tu ada kat situ, so they can stay inside that straw and then it will stay there in your area for the next cycle bila kamu planting a new cycle. And other than plough and burn rice straw juga, you may need to do sanitation or remove alternate hosts like wheat, especially yang grasses, yang type of grasses yang almost similar characteristic like our paddy plant. Okay, so they also can breed ataupun kita kata can develop inside this alternate host. And we have Nymphula dipunctalis, okay. We call it rice caseworm or leaf roller. Okay, also roll the leaf, but compared to the first leaf roller tadi and the first one kita tengok, okay, this one usually they akan roll and then cut the leaf. So leaf tu nanti later you will see floating atas permukaan air, and then they can move around using this kind of method. So dia bukan hanya duduk satu pokok sahaja, it can move around sebab daun tu akan float on the water surface and then based on the wind, water current kan, so dia akan hanyut ke another plant and then feed again a new plant lah. So not only on the one plant, you can move around, compare the first one tadi. Okay, so the symptom of damage, larva cut the leaf, fold and live inside the fold. They will eat the epidermis, leaving white streak of leaf. Yang ni pun sama karakteristik like the previous one. Makan epidermis, nampak hanya macam transparent part kan. And then leaf blade eaten away completely, leaving the midrib only. Okay, sometimes it can tinggal, what we call it midrib adalah the main vein dekat daun tu sahaja. Yang lain part tu dah kena makan. Okay, the life cycle 4 to 6 days for adult, eggs between 2 to 6 days, larvae 20 days, pupa 7 days. Okay, this is the adult, white in color. Okay, this is below is the symptom where the leaf is fit by this pest. Okay, as you can see, yang hanging ni is actually the leaf. They cut and roll inside. Okay, and this is the picture of larvae. As you can see here, okay, their larvae, okay, is actually equipped with what we call it gills. Okay, kamu nampak ni dia yang halus-halus yang macam bulu ni is actually a gill. So this characteristic allow this insect to breathe underwater. Maksudnya even pun dia tak sinking. Of course dia tak sinking kan. So dia just float around, but even though dia float, dia punya case ni still akan what we call it dibasahi air. So this larvae, this insect usually have larvae which is can breathe underwater lah. You can say that this is larvae is actually semi-aquatic. So this is the picture yang saya kata tadi. Okay, kalau kamu nampak ada roll-roll yang floating, okay, this is actually dia punya roll. Okay. So to control, for chemical control, if the insect reach ETL level, which is 20 insect per hill, okay, and then you can spray either with this one, BPMC or Fembilarate, okay, and then you can also use DDT, okay, same here like BHC tadi I mentioned to you kan, you can use the short form DDT, okay, jangan pula nanti keluar benda lain PDT lah, no, it has to be DDT. So otherwise you can use this long name lah, cumanya it's hard to spell kan. So yang paling senang use either BHC, DDT, BPMC, okay. So you can use this name sahaja. And then you can also use carbaryl, okay. And here for biocontrol, we have a few larval parasite, which is like Elasmus, Epaltelis, Bracon, Hormeus. Ni semuanya adalah hymenopterans, okay. Parasite of this caterpillar, this Infularipantalis, the larvae is, we consider it as a caterpillar. Okay, for cultural control, okay, to avoid that this pest from floating from one tree to another tree, okay, so you have to drain out the stagnant water from the field. So this is one of the method for cultural control lah. Keringkan air tu. So maksudnya dia tak boleh float around. Kalau dia duduk kat satu pokok tu, dia just makan at that area rather than floating around and then eat another tree. And then rotation of crop, it is advisable, meaning that you have to stop planting in one area and then maybe start in another area. Okay, so jangan guna the same area repeatedly lah. Maksudnya kena ada biarkan satu tempoh so that tak ada apa-apa at that area. But of course it will cause, how to say, in term of monetary value, maksudnya kamu tak boleh tanam apa-apa in one plot lah. So which is not good for the farmers. And then this is sanitation, okay, do sanitation, destruction of weed around the paddy field, since the weed can act as an alternate host for this pest as well. Okay, other leaf and plant eating insect, we have pyralid as here, Chilosupertalis. We have Sporoptera mauritia. Remember previously we have Sporoptera but not mauritia species, also armyworm that feed on vegetable, okay, from the family Noctuidae. But for this paddy, we have a species Mauritia, Sporoptera mauritia, that feed on the paddy. Okay, and then for Hesperid, okay, which is the one I said the skipper, okay, we have Pelopidas matias. And then Ochia and Valanga is actually Acrididae or grasshopper. Okay, this one is not actually there are a lot, but not very much cause damage compared to Lepidopteran pest. Okay, and we have also the Cladispa amigera, which is chrysomelid beetle, and then Atractomorpha crenulata, Virgomorphidae, which is a grasshopper, but the one with long head, which is Virgomorphidae. Okay. And then now we focus on sucking insects. So sucking insect meaning they feed on plant sap. Okay, hemipterans, remember hemipterans? They have different family. Okay, I also realized that you're confusing based on which one suborder, which one order, which one is family. Okay, suborder and order mungkin lah yang tu payah nak how to say separate kan. For example, we have order Odonata. Ni contoh lah, bukan despite. Sebab I realise your problem, most of you tak boleh nak beza which one is order, which one is suborder, which one is family. Okay, genus tu of course some of you boleh ingat, some of you may hard to remember that. But for order, okay, for example, we have Odonata. Okay, so anyone remember Odonata tu apa?
Dragonflies.
Yes, dragonflies. Okay. So we have order Odonata. Remember it's the words end with A. Odonata TA. Okay. And then for ni contoh saya panggil Odonata. And then they have suborder. Because I realize some of you put order previously, I think some of you put family. I think family kot. Anisoptera, okay? No, Anisoptera is actually suborder. In Odonata, we have Zygoptera and Anisoptera, okay, which is suborder. And inside this suborder, for example, Anisoptera, okay, we have families. Okay, families, we have Libellulidae, okay, Gompidae. Okay, ini contoh yang under Anisoptera lah. As you realize here, okay, Odonata dengan Anisoptera is ending with AA kan? TARA. Okay, that's why I said it's it's quite if you are not familiar, kamu tak boleh nak beza lah between order and suborder. But for the family, okay, the words always ending with DEA. Yeah, okay. DE. No. Delphacidae. DEA, DAE. I think DAE. No, not dia here. DAE, terbalik ya. Yang ni salah eja. Delphacidae, DAE. Okay, so families always ending with DAE. Yang ni tak saya tengok. Yes, this is the correct one. DAE. Okay, so families nama family ending with DAE, but order usually ending with A. Okay. Yang subfamily tu lain cerita lah. Sebab kadang kita jarang nak guna subfamily tu, but usually we use order and family. So order ending with A, family ending with DAE, bukan DEA, yang salah DAE. So remember that, so that kamu tak confused. Which one is family, which one is order. Okay, dia punya names tu. Okay, so back to our lecture. Okay, now we have the first one, which is brown plant hopper, BPH. This is a very common, okay, and main pest or main sucking insect for paddy. Okay, this Nila parvata lugans. Okay, nama dia Nila parvata lugans, brown plant hopper, okay, ataupun brown plant leaf hopper, BPH. From family Delphacidae, which is hemipterans. Okay, remember tadi kita ada Hemiptera order, Delphacidae is the family. Okay, dia punya symptom of damage, they will suck the plant sap. Okay, it's suck the plant fluid, causing drying of the plant and blocking nutrient flow through the plant. Sebabnya dia dah sedut all the fluid. Okay, leaf and plant will dry, stunted. The leaf akan jadi roll, akan bergulung. Of course, bergulung bukannya Nila parvata ni duduk kat dalam dia, no. The leaf just macam dia duduk kat batang tu je. Okay, but when they suck, of course, plant tu akan bergulung sebabnya kekurangan air. And then of course retard in growth. They will attack all stage of plant. Maksudnya waktu kamu tanam awal-awal tu, during tillering stage pun dia ada, during milking stage pun dia ada, waktu you want to harvest sekalipun, it will still there. Even though it will still there if if that area infested by this insect. Maksudnya dia tak akan muncul hanya waktu berbunga atau berbuah ke, no. Throughout the stages of the plant growth. And then the severe infestation will produce symptoms like known as hopper burn. Okay, dia nampak seolah-olah macam pokok padi tu kena bakar. Okay, macam kesan terbakar. It will macam kekuningan. And then this insect also transmit two viruses, which is rat stun virus and then grassy stun virus. Okay, there are two type of virus lah kat sini. It will carry both. Okay, and then life cycle dia between 12 to 18 days for adult. Okay, the adult will lay eggs on the shelf of leaf. Okay, shelf ni maksudnya yang bahagian daun . And then eggs will hatch after around 8 to 9 days. And the nymphs 12 to 14 days. Of course, the nymph bukan hanya satu stages of nymph sahaja. They will have a few stages of nymph. Maksudnya dia akan molt. Okay, this is the insects, very small size. Okay, as you can see, dia duduk hanya kat batang, but they can appear in aggregate. Maksudnya kalau tempat tu severe infestation, you will see a lot of individual ada dekat batang padi. Okay, they usually spend times dekat area batang as well rather than on leaf, but the adult will lay eggs on leaf first. Okay, this is the small insect, and this is what we call it hopper burn, as you can see. Okay, kamu nampak macam pokok padi tiba-tiba kuning and then kering, seolah-olah macam kena bakar at one part. Supposedly it will grow green kan, and then after green they will produce seed and so on. So kalau macam ni, of course the plant at the end it will die lah. And in North Malaysia, Nila parvata lugans is actually among other pests, BPH ni adalah the main pest problem yang they're facing sebelah utara. So if there is issues about this hopper, okay, mereka akan control dengan cepat so that this pest tak akan membiak ke kawasan sekitar, because we know that compared to other area in Malaysia, sebelah utara lagi banyak sawah padi kan. Okay, for control, we have chemical control by using imidacloprid, propokal, diazenon, carbaryl, malathion, okay, and then this phenocarbamate, which is DPMC, or also MIPC, isopropyl, and then when the ETL, which is economic threshold level, reach 15 insect per hill during tillering stage, or 7 insect per hill in field. Maksudnya during tillering stage ni waktu we consider that waktu padi tu membesar and then membiak atau hasilkan dia punya anak through asexual tadi kan, anak yang tumbuh bercabang sebelah bunch dia tu. Okay, so this is what we call it tillering stage. Okay, you can Google to see the stages of the development of paddy. Dia ada macam-macam stage dah. Dia start from when you are grow the paddy, and then ada tillering stage, milking stage, and then mature stage. So dia ada different stages, and if there are 15 insect observed or more during tillering stage, so you have to control. But if the paddy or if the insect found per hill in field, maksud in field ni maksudnya plant tu dah cukup besar. So if you found 7 tu kira we consider as a ETL level. For biocontrol, okay, this is the list of the insect as well as spiders, okay, that can use to control this pest. So we have Aranius ni, Aranius is actually arachnid. Ceratohirnius ni actually also it's actually insects. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually hemipterans as well. And Pederus fucifes is actually your the one that you known as Charlie. Okay, it's a beetle. And then for cultural control, it's advisable that the plant need to be planted, or the rice plant need to be planted simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously maksudnya kamu tanam tu serentak. Practice nowadays, this farmers usually tanam. Remember kita padi orang tanam ada banyak-banyak plot, right? So satu plot selalunya dia bertanam awal sebab due to issues with workers and so on kan. So selalunya dia akan tanam satu plot dulu, and then maybe after a few weeks they will finish another plot pula. So selalunya bila macam ni, maksudnya age of the paddy is not actually simultaneously. Maksudnya dia tak serentak lah tu. Usia dia tak sama. Okay, so for this, to control this pest, it was advisable to plant the paddy plant tu simultaneously, serentak, so that bila dia bila let's say kita kata ada infestation of Nila parvata lugens there, okay, dia hanya ada satu stages untuk dia membiak sahaja. Katalah kalau semua milking stage, maksudnya semua plot adalah milking stage. So dia tak akan move around from one plot to another. Sebab if you imagine here, katalah kamu tanam mula-mula padi tu awal yang seedling, okay, another plot kosong lagi waktu tu kan. So bila yang young tadi ni dah jadi milking stage or tillering stage for example, so kamu tanam a new one which is young, okay. So katalah kamu ada banyak-banyak plot kan, so semuanya tak sama usia. So this Nila parvata lugens, dia lagi suka macam tu sebabnya, okay, katalah dia infest dah plant yang firstly kamu tanam tadi tu. Okay, and then after habis makan kat situ, dia can move around to the second stage yang kamu tanam, which is second plot yang kamu tanam. So maksudnya dia punya life cycle tu akan repeatedly ataupun continuously banyak cycle in your area, dari satu plot ke satu plot ke satu plot. Okay, boleh faham tak maksud saya? That's why kita ask for you to plant simultaneously. Kalau semua usia serentak, maksudnya dia tak boleh duduk lama dekat your paddy field. Rather than bila kamu tanam macam-macam stage, dia akan move around dari stage ni ke stage ni ke stage ni. Okay, boleh faham tak what I mean by this plant rice simultaneously?
Faham.
Okay, sebab kita nak avoid yang this pest stay in our plot tu lama. So if we can reduce the time, katalah dia hanya ada during January for example, ni I just guessing the month lah kan. Katalah dia muncul around January. So your plant stage nak harvest ni February for example. So bila January, dia punya infestation tu tak lama lah sebab you will harvest in January. But if there is a plot yang mungkin harvested in April, so dia akan move around dari yang dah habis kat sini, dia pergi dekat yang akan harvest on April tu sebab ada lagi tempoh masa untuk dia membiak dekat situ kan. So tu I mean by plant rice simultaneously. And during heavy infestation, dry the rice plot for 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, maksudnya kat sini if since this pest they feed on plant fluid, bendale. So it depend on the environment as well lah. Kalau tempat tu kering, of course your plant akan reduce dia punya absorption of water. So and then dia akan reduce dia punya effect ataupun reduce benefit dekat Nila parvatalucans. So that's why dia kata during heavy infestation, if we dry out the rice plot untuk 3 hingga 4 week, of course your plant still ada kat situ, cumanya dia punya content of water reduce. So dia akan ganggu activity or secara tak langsung reduce the infestation of this Nila parvatalucan. But remember it cannot 100% reduce during using cultural control, but it can slightly at least reduce the heavy infestation. And you can use the plant resistance variety. Since this Nila parvatalucan is actually the main pest, so many study has been done to produce plant or variety that actually resistant to this kind of pest infestation. So kalau if you know which one is resistance for this one, and then use that one lah as a cultural control. Okay. And other sucking insect, we have nipothetic species, green leaf hopper. Okay, leaf hopper. Remember jenis dia jump around. Okay, from family Cicadalidae. The symptom of damage usually almost similar macam tadi, cumanya if we compare BPH, brown plant hopper, with green leaf hopper, it's actually yang brown tu dia akan muncul dengan banyak compare to nipothetic which is the green leaf hopper. But if we are talking about severity, maksudnya yang BPH tu lagi teruk lah compared to nipothetic. But if we talking about whether availability of the pest in that area, nipothetic ni paling, maksudnya it can appear in the field, mungkin it can appear in almost of the field, maksudnya dia senang dijumpai compared to BPH. BPH tu kalau dia ada infestation dia akan muncul a lot, but for nipothetic dia less severe lah compared to BPH. in term of number of individual, but they can appear in field, in paddy field, in the area tu, maksudnya how to say, kita boleh katakan dia selalu ada, cumanya dia tak banyak. Okay, and the symptom of damage, the plant feed by this hopper, okay, akan cause stunting because both adult and nymph sama juga macam yang tadi, adult and nymph feed on the plant sap, and the leaf turn yellow during high infestation. Okay, and then attack during young stage in nursery. In nursery selalunya yang bila kamu tak tanam lagi dekat field. There are practice yang maksudnya kamu tanam somewhere else first and then nanti akan cabut dekat nursery and then pergi tanam dekat field. Okay, but if the attack happen during nursery, okay, it will cause damage lagi banyak lah compare to the one bila kamu dah tanam dekat field. And then this insect also can carry virus, which is a tungro virus. Okay, there are two type of tungro virus, which is bacilliform virus dengan sphaeriform virus. Okay, RTBV dengan RTSV. Okay, RTBV, rice tungro bacilliform virus, cannot be transmitted by this leaf hopper unless RTSV is present. So maksudnya kat sini, let's say kalau this insect carry RTSV, maksudnya dia boleh pergi transmit kat another plant, RTSV. But for RTBV, bacilliform virus, dia perlu ada infestation by RTSV first. Maksudnya dia dah jadi double infestation bila ada RTBV. Okay, so both virus will cause rice tungro virus. Life cycle is between 13 to 19 days, egg 7 to 8 days, nymph 18 days. Okay, this is the picture of green plant hopper. Okay, this is the symptoms. Okay, this bawah ni yang we call it rice tungro virus. So you can see dia punya plant dah tak nampak cantik with streak marking. Okay, nampak yang merah-merah ni because of the infection by virus vectored by this insect. Okay, this insect dia bukan cause virus, dia adalah carrier atau vector to the plant virus. So to control, we have carbaryl, PPMC, MIPC, where when the ETL level reach 15 insect in nursery. Okay, in nursery maksudnya waktu pokok tu kecil, kalau jumpa 15 insect, you have to control in nursery. But for the field, maksudnya 5 insect per hill in the field. So biocontrol, most of the insect predator, so anyone you can think of like dragonfly can be insect predator for this hypothetic. So cultural control, same as BPH, brown plant hopper. You can plant rice simultaneously. Okay, now other hemipterans, we have Pentatomidae, Scotinophora caudata, Malayan blackbug. Okay, this one, adult and nymph feed on developing grain. Okay, rather than just only feed on plant. Okay, they specialize on developing grain. Dia makan juga part plant sap or fruit from leaf as well as a stem. Cumanya dia specialize, maksudnya if your plant already have developed the grain, so they more preferred grain part lah. So if this insect suck on plant sap during mungkin tillering stage, they will stunted the growth of the plant. Okay, the plant turning yellows and less number of plantlet and also weak panicle. Okay, and then it will cause the plant will and then dry and die lah. Sebab dia makan sama macam like other plant sucking insect, they will suck the plant sap. Okay, but when they feed on the grain, maksudnya buah tadi tu during milking stage. Okay, milking stage tadi maksud saya bila dia dalam isi berpadi tu, dia sebenarnya macam susu milk. Okay, so during this time kalau dia suck on this grain, it will cause the grain will become partially or entirely unfilled. Maksudnya sama ada dia kosong 100% ataupun kosong separuh. So kalau kosong separuh, the plant ataupun the grain still can develop. Cumanya when you harvest the grain, okay, maksudnya padi kamu yang ada atau beras yang ada hanya sekerat atau sebahagian, because waktu dia makan tu, dia makan during milking stage. So you imagine yang okay, dia cucuk masuk dia punya rostrum and then suck the sap ataupun the milk paddy tu macam straw. Okay, kalau dia makan separuh sahaja daripada straw, of course yang padi yang develop tu separuh lah. Maksudnya beras tu just separuh je. Kalau dia makan semua and then paddy tu hanya tinggal dia punya khas semata-mata. Kat dalam tu adalah kosong. Okay, this is the picture that caused by the Scotiaphora coctata. Okay, almost like a hopper burn tadi, cumanya usually this kind of symptoms appear especially during milking stage. Dia jarang, dia berlaku during tillering stage as well, waktu plant to produce plantlet ataupun waktu plant to membesar. Cumanya selalunya during this time the infestation is not very severe, but bila plant tu dah more develop up to start milking stage, waktu tu lah selalunya dia punya severity of infestation occur. Okay, to control, you can use BPMC, Fenthion or Acifate when reach ETL 5 insect per kill. Okay, 5 insect ni dah consider banyak compare to other sucking insect. Tadi kamu, if you realize, dia punya number around 15 insect per hill, okay, or 7 insect per hill because of the size. Okay, this insect is more larger, okay, maybe around 5 times larger from the brown plant hopper. Okay, so that's why if you found 5, tu dah consider, okay, you need to spray with chemical or insecticide. 5 insect per hill. Okay, and then apply insecticide at the base of the plant where insect usually aggregate. Okay, base of the plant, not actually base yang dalam air. Cumanya maksudnya kat sini instead of you focusing more on leaf, it's actually yang middle part tu, yang start area, how to say, part yang we consider as batang lah, stem. And then for biological control, there are a few parasitoids like Telinomus strictus and also Telinomus cyprus, which is hymenopterans. And for cultural control, clear wheat from the rice field, which is alternate host for this pest. And you can also plough and burn rice stump and also straw after harvest. So the rice stump, bila kamu potong, kan, so one part is straw, which is yang ada tangkai padi, and then stump, which is yang tinggal batang atau kita kata tunggul dekat sawah padi tu. So if you not plough and burn the rice stump, so there is a possibility that insect tu still ada dekat bawah bahagian batang near the water. Ataupun sekarang selalunya bila you harvest the rice, selalunya kita akan dry out the field. So waktu tu dah tak ada air. So yang base or stump, kalau kita tak buang dan bakar, selalunya akan menjadi habitat for this Scotiaphora coctata. They will stay in the field until you planted a new cycle of the paddy lah. So that's why selalunya kamu tengok macam in utara especially sebab banyak paddy field utara, they actually practice burning kan, bakar stump padi. Maksudnya kamu tengok ada kawasan yang dia buat open burning to control this kind of pest. Of course, even though open burning usually it's control lah. So it's not actually uncontrolled. Maksudnya selalunya since this practice apply by almost farmers, usually kalau kamu pergi sebelah utara, there are certain period where dia macam banyak jerebu because of these practices. And then another hemipterans, Leptocoryza oratorius from family Alididae. Okay, this is slender bugs, slender rice bugs. Okay, you can find this insect not only in area where you have a paddy, because this insect feed also on other type of grass. Dia tak makan rumput, but then you know grass, certain grass producing seed or grain like similar like paddy, cumanya bukan jenis padi lah kan, yang kita kata consider yang kita makan. So this insect will attack during milking stage sebab dia tak makan dekat batang, dia makan dekat grain. Dia makan part of grains where during milking stage, waktu sebelum dia jadi beras, waktu dia tengah dalam form liquid. Okay, so sama macam Scotinophora juga tadi. Okay, Scotinophora tu cumanya dia feed both. Okay, dia makan, boleh makan dekat batang or feed on plant set, but if they appear during milking stage, dia akan makan the grain. But for this insect, dia usually specialize on the grain. So maksudnya kalau selalunya bila dah start berbuah, bila start the milking stage, insect ni akan appear dengan banyak. Okay, so the grains usually sama ada dia jadi half filled atau empty, or they also can appear with black dots atau marks like yang picture bawah ni. Okay, yang ni sebenarnya kulit padi sebelum yang kamu tak nampak, bukan inside, bukan beras ni kulit padi. So kat luar kulit padi tu kamu dah nampak dia punya sign of infestation, where nampak hitam-hitam ni instead of colour golden atau coklat kan. So dia jadi with black dots. Okay, with marking and black dots. Life cycle 35 to 18 days. So obviously longer kan. And then 7 days, NIM 18 to 19 days. So they appear in adult form longer than other or longer than nympho stage. Okay, to control, tadi kita tengok Scotinophora because of the size, dia jadi 5 insect per hill. But now this insect a bit larger, not actually larger, it is more longer because of the slender body. Okay, so if you found 2 insect per hill, you have to start to spray with insecticide like BPMC, Carberry or Fenthion. Okay, and then also use gamma benzene hexachloride, BHC. And then for biocontrol, there are insects that feed on this Leptocoryza oratorius, especially the one yang having a size larger than this pest. Okay, otherwise dia tak boleh makan lah. There is no parasitoid for these insects. Okay, so most of dia punya biological control adalah in form of predator like wasps, okay, grasshopper and also a spider. And for cultural control, like other insects, you have to do simultaneous planting and then also do sanitation, clean up the weed in the rice field, okay, which is can act as the alternate host. Okay, so this is other leaf and plant sucking insects. Okay, this is Resilia rosalis from the same family, the like BPH tadi, brown plant hopper. But this one, dia punya nama zigzag plant hopper. And then Cophana spectra, we have Cicadalidae, okay, and Nezara viridula pentatomid. Sogatella fucifera, also the Facidae. Okay, so all these insects is actually from hemipterans. It's just that it comes from different family. Okay, now we go to root eater. Like I said previously, we have only one root eater, which is mole crickets. Okay, Grillotalpa orientalis, oriental mole cricket. Okay, remember what is the main characteristic for oriental mole cricket? Not oriental, just mole cricket. Apa yang ciri paling penting sebelum ni? I have given you example of characteristic tentang how to say dia punya modification of legs. So mole cricket, what type of leg do they have? Anyone?
Digging tu apa?
Sorry, tak dengar. Anyone?
So digging.
Untuk digging, yes. Okay, so mole cricket dia punya legs, 4 legs is modified for digging. Okay, mole maksudnya dia menggali dalam lubang. So here mole cricket dia punya habitat is inside the soil. Okay, so family Grillotalpidae punya order is Orthoptera. Okay, family Grillotalpidae. And then symptom of damage, they will burrow and feeding on the rice plant roots. So dia makan roots yang dalam tanah and larvae, and also they also it's more like omnivore. So they can also eat on other insect larvae or other small creature in the soil. Okay, other than rice plant root lah. So dia boleh makan macam-macam jenis. Okay, it can goes to surface during night, which is nocturnal. Okay, mostly in mating season. Otherwise, you won't see this insect appear on the soil surface. Okay, they mostly spend their time dalam tanah, dalam lubang, okay, dalam dia punya tanah. And nymph and adult, okay, both nymph and adult feed and then cut the stem and roots and seedling of rice plant. Usually they cut stem batang yang near the near the surface of the soil. And then also kalau roots tu maksudnya dalam lubang atau dalam tanah lah. Okay, and life cycle, they have very long life cycle, 1 to 3 years depending on the climatic condition. Okay, but of course, this mole cricket is actually not a main pest for the rice plant lah. Cumanya I want to show you that we also have pests yang feed on roots. Maksudnya even though deep inside the soil, they still have a pest which is come from insect pest, oriental mole cricket yang eat on the roots. Okay, to control deep plugging, trapping, soil fumigation, poison bait, and the application of other insecticide lah. And then for biocontrol, there are also wasps in the family of Crabronidae, which is hymenopterans. Okay, they are specialized to parasitize on mole cricket. It's just that in our case, in Malaysia, in our situation, this mole cricket is not actually the main pest for our paddy. Okay. This is the picture of mole crickets. Okay, they will lay eggs inside the soil in their tunnel. Okay, this is the legs. As you can see here, the punya 4 legs modification is for digging. Okay, this is the list of predator or beneficial insect that can be used to control most of the plant-sucking insect. Okay, here we have Neurothemistulia or Tetram sabina. These two is actually Anisoptera or dragonfly, the large dragonfly. Okay, the two picture above me, Neurothemistulia and Tetram sabina. This is the most common one, but as you all know, I think you have to know that all Odonata, okay, all the dragonfly is actually predator. So other than these two, okay, katalah kamu tak ingat dua nama ni, but you need but you remember other Odonata. Yes, other Odonata also can act as predator for or beneficial insect to control pests. Okay, maksudnya bukan hanya dua ni sahaja. Ni adalah contoh yang I give you because these two is very common in rice field. And another two, which is Agronomis and Ischnura senegalensis, which is these two here. Okay, yang warna orange and then yang ada abdomen at the end of orange but body colour hijau. This one is actually Zygoptera. Okay, yang small ataupun kita panggil pepatung jarum. Okay, and then we have Microspis discolor and then Harmonia optomaculata and Menoculus submaculatus. Okay, these three, which is Microspis discolor, Menoculus submaculatus, second ladybugs, and then the last ladybugs here, the below, is actually Harmonia optomaculata. So these three, okay, is actually predator for paddy pest. Okay, so as you can see, yang ni plain kan, yang ni zigzag, yang ni a bit dot. But remember, most of the dot, most of ladybugs yang ada dots usually adalah pest. Okay, but in Harmonia atau maculata ni, it's like different in dia punya shape of dots, and then kalau kamu perasan dekat dia punya prothorax pun ada dots. So usually we can differentiate whether mana predator, mana pest in term of ladybugs ni based on dia punya coloration on the elytra as well as on dia punya prothorax lah in body. And then we have Ophionia nigrofasciata and Pederus fucifes. This is Ophionia and then this is Pederus. Okay, also the predator for sucking pests. And now we go to the oil palm, which is Elias guanensis. Okay, the major pests actually come from Coleoptera, Lepidoptera, Orthoptera, and Hemiptera. But the one that cause damage actually come from these two, Coleoptera and Lepidoptera. Okay, the pests usually leaf eater, causing damage by defoliating the oil palm tree. Okay, the first one we have rhinoceros beetle, Oryctes rhinoceros. Okay, nama pun dah rhinoceros kat sini. As you can see, dia punya karakteristik nama ni dapat dekat beetle ni because of the characteristic. They have what we call it horn macam rhinoceros. Okay, so this is from the family Scarabidae. Symptom of damage. This rhinoceros beetle, so adult, dia akan bore into the center of the crown, maksudnya tengah batang, bukan batang yang besar, but crown is actually part bahagian, we call it pucuk, but pucuk yang sebelum dia keluar dari, sebelum yang kamu nampak dari luar lah, maksudnya crown is actually, how to say, kalau sebelah Terengganu, pantai timur, dia orang panggil umbut, kan, bahagian yang tengah tu very soft, leaf shaft yang belum lagi keluar. Okay, so tu adalah crown where they inject the young growing tissue and feed on the exudate sac. Okay, even though saya sebut exudate sac kat sini, it's actually crawling, chewing ya. Okay, bukannya plant sucking bukannya sucking insect. Okay, it's actually bila dia makan and then they eat on the sac yang keluar dari batang ataupun growing tissues yang dah dia damage. Itulah. And then they will cut through the developing leaf. Maksud saya pucuk yang sebelum keluar tu. So bila pucuk tu dah matang ataupun kita kata keluar dari crown, okay, the damage tu akan appear V-shape. I think I ada gambar kat sini kot later. Okay. And then dia punya adult, since it's very large beetle, so you can expect that dia punya life cycle is a bit quite long lah kan, around 4 to 9 months. And the eggs 8 to 12 days, larvae around 207 days. Okay, and then they have pre-pupils, and then pupal stage around 28 days. Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, there is no picture about the zigzag. You can Google by your own. Okay, yang V-shape cut ni. Sebab how to say? You can Google lah, but the characteristic is very distinct. Okay, sebabnya bila dia makan daun pucuk muda yang ada dalam tu, you can imagine dia punya daun kelapa sawit dia macam pelepah lah. So if they eat certain part, okay, bila dia terbuka later on, dia akan produce the V-shape. This insect bukannya makan dalam bentuk V-shape, no. Cumanya waktu dia makan, since dia punya waktu dia makan certain part, okay, due to the characteristic of oil palm yang dia punya susunan pelepah tu berlipat macam kipas, okay. So bila, you can imagine bila daun tu terbuka later, okay, keluar daripada crown later, it will producing V-shape. Okay, you have to Google by your own sebab saya tak ada gambar kat sini. Okay. This is the adult, like I said, dia punya main characteristic adalah dia punya horn. Okay, sebab tu dia dapat nama rhinoceros beetle, and at my right side is actually the larvae form. Okay, the larvae you can only found it in the soil or also in the rotten logs ataupun mungkin rotten parts of the trees. Mungkin juga branch ataupun juga what we call it tree branch, fruit. The fruit tree, what to say, tangkai buah kan, buah tu kan you know a bunch, so dia mungkin juga ada dalam that kind of rotting bunch, and this is the damage caused by the adult. So adult akan bore inside, akan fit inside the crown of the oil palm. Okay, when severe, kalau lah kata other than bore inside the crown, dia juga boleh bore in the tree shell. Maksudnya dia punya pelepah ni. Okay, kalau dia makan kat sini, and then there is a possibility that pelepah tu akan patah and causing this kind of damage lah. So for chemical, usually we use cypermethrin, pyrethroid, and furadan, and also a marshal. Sometimes we apply, how to say, insecticide on the area ataupun soil di sekitar di sekitar umbi pokok tu. Okay. Or there are also application where katalah sebelum buah tu, sebelum pokok tu hasilkan buah, we can use systemic insecticide where kita drill batang pokok, okay, and then insert chemical dalam batang pokok so that they boleh transmit throughout the plant lah, to control the rhinoceros beetle as well as juga nanti later Lepidopteran pest. Okay, so but usually for systemic insecticide, kita jarang guna bila pokok tu dah matang or hasilkan buah, sebab selalunya dia akan hasilkan buah berterusan. So as you see later, okay, dalam part yang chemical later on, systemic insecticide is actually chemical yang usually sustain in environment lama tau. So when you drill and then put inside the trunk, nanti dia akan diangkut ke seluruh bahagian tumbuhan. So if your plant is already producing fruits, okay, so this chemical is also akan ditransport ke fruit, which is not good for the for human health lah kan, sebab later you will harvest the fruit and then you will producing to produce the oil and so on. So this chemical kalau kamu guna, it will still there in the producing in the fruits yang kamu produce tu. Okay, so that's why usually when we use systemic insecticide, not only for oil palm or other type of fruit trees, you can use a systemic insecticide as well to control pests. It's just that you have to use it before the plant producing the fruit. Okay, sebab kalau kamu nak harvest fruit lah, sebab dia akan angkut ke part fruit tu juga. So we want to avoid this kind of problem. And then for biocontrol, there are a fungus which is beneficial fungus like Metahizum anisopliae, okay, already produced and available in the market to be used to control adult as well as larvae of Oryctes rhinoceros. Okay, this fungus act as a biocontrol since bila kita spray, dia akan kena either dekat immature stages or sometimes also act on the adult stages, but usually this fungus punya target, the main target is actually immature stages. Okay, so fungus ni akan grow. Fungus ni we say it has a insecticidal property, so dia akan grow atas larvae, so larvae tu akan mati lah. And we also there are also baculovirus that like Oryctes virus that specialize only on Oryctes genus. Okay, Oryctes virus specialize on Oryctes genus. Oryctes genera is actually one of the genus in Scarabidae lah kan. So Oryctes rhinoceros is rhinoceros beetle. We have other type of Oryctes as well. And for baculovirus, Oryctes virus ni, dia specialize on the genus itself. Okay, bukannya specialize on the species. So semua genus Oryctes akan kena infect by baculovirus if you use it as our biocontrol. And for cultural control, there are a lot. Like you have to remove or destroy any organic matter that support the larval development. Okay, like decaying log, stump, or maybe pile of leaves, grass. And then there are also traps that use aggregation hormone to attract male beetle. Okay, maksudnya kamu pasang perangkap and then letak hormone yang akan attract male beetle, and then you can control using physical control lah. Okay, once dia dah masuk dalam your trap kan. Okay, and then you also can plant what we call it cover crop. Okay, the one that grow cover crop usually selalunya kita guna climbing plant like Fabaceae mucuna, certain mucuna species. Okay, I'm not sure whether you realize kan kalau kamu lalu dekat highway in area where they start planting a new oil palm tree, maksudnya masih kecil, belum lagi producing fruits. Kalau kamu tengok bahagian lantai ataupun atas tanah, it's actually covered by a type of vine ataupun pokok menjala. Okay, so you cannot see bawah, selalu tak nampak tanah lah. Okay, this we call it as a ground cover or cover crop. Okay, so that dia boleh cover the area and then tutup bahagian bawah bahagian bawah pokok to avoid infestation ataupun development of larvae in surrounding your oil palm tree. Okay, that's why selalunya kita akan nampak cover crop during waktu pokok oil palm kita tu belum lagi producing fruits. But after producing fruits, dekat bahagian bawah tu selalu dah dikontrol lah. Maksudnya we remove all the cover crop so that dia tak akan compete with our plant to get nutrient and so on. Okay, and then there are also mechanical method like hook wire to extract and destroy rhinoceros adult. Yang ni maksudnya kamu kena pergi cari dia punya lubang and then buat sangkut keluar dia punya adult dalam lubang yang dah infested by this Oryctes rhinoceros. Okay, now we go to the caterpillar ataupun yang makan daun. Okay, we have a few what we call it bagworm. Okay, bagworm maksudnya dia duduk dalam sarung. Dia buat caterpillar which is dia punya immature stage duduk dalam bag ataupun dalam sarung. Okay, first we have Mahasena corbeti. Later I will show you the picture. Okay, and then we have Metisa plana. Okay, and then we have Pheroma pendula. There is three that main ataupun common bagworm that you can found that you can found in oil palm plantation. Okay. So all three is actually from Psychidae family. The symptom of damage, most of it actually producing similar characteristic of damage. They will eat on the oil palm leaf, so it's defoliator. It will cause what we call it skeletonize, just tinggal ranting sahaja. And the life cycle here you can read by your own. Okay, later you have to compare between these three. Okay, these three bagworm, dia punya characteristic usually characterized by the shape of the case. Okay, so case dia kalau kamu realize nanti tengok ada 3 jenis which is case dia macam-macam rupa. But all of it is made by from the leaf yang dia pemakan ni dan juga ada type of material from the plant sources lah. Okay, this is the picture of adult. Okay, this is the picture of adult female. Adult male. Okay, compared to the other moth, okay, usually for bagworm, dia punya female is actually have more like distort morphology. Distort ni maksudnya dia punya sayap not fully developed. Dia punya purpose is actually just to breed. So they will stay inside dia punya macam area cocoon, not cocoon, is dia punya bag ni, and then just waiting for the male to find them. Okay, sebabnya female ni tak boleh terbang ataupun dia punya morphology seolah-olah macam terbantut. Okay, so the male akan pergi cari female untuk mengawan dan then they lay eggs. Okay, this habit is actually almost similar to all three bagworm. Okay, tadi kita ada this one, Mahasena corbeti, and then Metisa plana. The damage is similar, like I said. Okay, dia akan makan daun and then skeletonize the daun, tinggal ranting semata-mata. And then this is the case. As you can see, dia punya case is more smooth. Okay, and usually sometimes kalau dia dah a bit mature, you can see that dia punya case ni ataupun part of pupa ni it's actually macam hanging tau. Compared to this one, okay, during the active larval stages, usually you will see dia on the plant surface, maksudnya dekat atas permukaan daun. For this one, pupal stages, okay, so instead of moving, pergi makan merata-rata, dia akan tergantung hanging usually under the leaf, maksudnya bahagian bawah daun. Okay, and this third one, Teruma pendula. Okay, also similar. Ni pun sama. Okay, as you can see here, this is actually the picture of the of the pupal form. Maksudnya bila dia dah nak start pupate, okay, dia akan nampak tergantung macam lantern bawah daun. Okay, this is the adult. Male adult. Okay, this is what I mean by skeletonized. Okay, macam tinggal rangka. As you can see here, this is heavy infestation by bedworm. All three bedworm tu tadi will cause the similar damage. Okay, yang tinggal hanyalah what we call it vein ataupun kalau kita kata lidi lah. If you realise kan, macam pokok kelapa sawit dia ada what we call it lidi kan, dia punya main vein tu. Okay, so yang tinggal hanya that part, that kind of part. So daun semua tak ada, tinggal rangka, and of course dia akan jadi colour like burn macam ni lah. Okay, other than tree bedworms tu, there are other caterpillars that also eat on the leaf of the oil palm. So we have nettle caterpillar from Limacoridae. First is Citora nitens. Okay, they eat on the vein. Okay, and then usually compared to bedworm, this insect or this pest is less severe. Maksudnya dia kurang infestation lah, tak banyak macam bedworm tadi. Okay, but it can also produce what we call a voracious feeding habit. The type of damage almost similar like bedworm, dia akan tinggal ranting since dia pemakan bahagian yang soft sahaja kan. But this nettle caterpillar, we call it nettle because of the toxin yang dia produce. If you touch ataupun terkena this kind of caterpillar, it will produce stinging or itchiness, maksudnya pain. Okay, so kamu akan rasa macam like burning tau, kesan dia macam burn. Cumanya kamu tak nampak dia macam seolah-olah kamu burn, tak nampak terbakar, cumanya rasa macam how to say, it's stinging lah. Selain daripada rasa gatal, it's more like I'm not sure macam mana nak terang. Dia rasa macam pedih tau. Cumanya kamu tak nampak dia kesan sama ada terbakar atau tak dekat your skin. Okay, cuma mungkin some people kalau part itchiness tu there are allergic reaction lah. Mungkin kulit kamu akan macam bintik-bintik ataupun bengkak dan so on. Cumanya sometimes people dia tak ada producing physical, maksudnya tak nampak kesan tu dekat kulit. It's just like a normal skin, cumanya ada rasa sting tu. Okay, caused by this Citora nitens. And this is the control methods for Lepidopteran pests. Okay, for chemical control, you can use either acephate, benzocape, carbaryl, chlorpyrifos, cyphotrin, xazonon, all this type of chemical. Okay, either using spray ataupun for those yang saya kata systemic insecticide, you can do trunk injection lah. Maksudnya tebuk batang and then inject this kind of insecticide to be transmitted through all the whole plant. Okay, and then for cultural control, you can use either mechanical, okay, hand picking, but of course kalau kamu ada ladang yang luas takkan nak hand pick, right? So you cannot do hand picking unless you have only small area to be covered. And for biological control, you can either plant what we call it beneficial plant, okay, to attract parasitoid like beneficial plant, nama dia like Tunera sabulata, Antigona leptosus, Cassia cobanensis. All trees usually famous plant that usually kamu nampak macam pokok bunga yang ditanam di sekitar ataupun tepi-tepi jalan dekat area kelapa sawit. Okay, the purpose is to attract parasitoid because adult of parasitoid, they feed on nectary. And they feed on plant nectary like honey and so on tu. So we plant this type of Tunera, Antigona dan Cassia, and then dia akan pergi kat situ. At the same time, they will lay eggs inside the caterpillar atau inside the Lepidopteran pest. Okay, this is the natural enemies, parasitoid, braconid and so on. Okay, and then there are also use of Bacillus thuringiensis, which is bacterial spray or BT. Okay, this is what I mean by beneficial plant to attract parasitoid. So selalunya kalau for those yang mungkin ada sama yang duduk Felda ke so on, they usually apply this kind of practices. Okay, tanam pokok yang kembang pagi ni which is Tunera subulata, and then the pink one is actually kalau nama Melayu I think pokok air mata pengantin kalau tak silap saya, Antigona leptosus. Cassia tak ada kat sini, gambar tak ada kat sini, which is Fabaceae, Cassia fabanensis. Okay. And this is other pests. We have Danatrima, also Limacodidae tadi, which is cause stinging or itchiness. Okay, this one yang ulat bulu ni, Danatrima. And then there are also Coptotemus coviginatus, which is termite. Okay, that mungkin akan korek batang and so on. And then of course we have Rattus norvegicus. Okay, this one Rattus norvegicus specialized or feed on the fruit of oil palm. And then for cocoa, theobromid cocoa. Okay, usually the main pest is this one, Conopomorpha caramella, cocoa pod borer, Gracillaridae. Okay, cocoa pod borer is actually Lepidopterans. Okay, the CPB, they will lay eggs on the young cocoa pod, and then the punya larvae akan burrow inside and then feed inside the pod. So of course bila dia feed inside the pod, seed yang you want to harvest untuk hasilkan coklat, of course akan infested lah. So tak boleh guna, dia punya quality will drop and so on. Okay, the adult, they will lay eggs a lot, around 200 eggs between 7 days dia punya life cycle, and then larvae around 18 days, pupae up to 8 days. Okay, it's very small Lepidopterans. Okay, this is the picture of the adult and this is the picture of the image. Okay, once they lay eggs dekat luar, and then dia akan makan kat dalam ni, larvae dia akan develop inside, and then bila dia nak pupate, it will dig the tunnel to come out from the fruits and then pupate on the leaf. Okay, ni adalah gambar where the caterpillar ataupun dia punya ulat or maggots start to producing area to pupate. Okay. This is where how to control. Chemical control is not suggested, and also kat sini saya tak letak because it's very hard to control using chemical control since the larvae is actually borer inside the fruit. So kalau kamu control buat systemic insecticide, the fruit you want to harvest kan, so it's hard to control borer yang dalam buah yang you want to harvest. Kalau the borer mungkin feed on other part, mungkin tak severe damage as where the infestation happen on the pod. Okay, for biocontrol there are parasitic wasps, okay, like trichogramma tadi, and then there are also black ants and beaver ants. Okay, then yang feed on the eggs and so on. And for cultural control, okay, collect pod before matured and before larva emerge in the field. Maksudnya you harvest the pod sebelum nampak kesan severe damage tu. So selalunya waktu tu dia punya cocoa of course tak matang, but instead of fully damaged, okay, dia dah boleh harvest lah. Okay, and then for those yang obviously dah nampak damage tu, you may put it in the plastic bag and then biar dia immerse dalam plastic bag. Okay, rather than dia punya immerse kat luar. Or of course selain daripada tu juga mungkin you harvest the one yang nampak infested and then burn lah, bakar kan. Okay, and then selain daripada tu, for cultural control, to prevent daripada this adult to lay eggs on the fruits, you may also sleeving the pots, maksudnya balut atau bungkus pot, your cocoa pot with bags, sama macam you covered your fruit buah-buahan dari fruit fly. Okay, maksudnya kita covered during certain age so that tak sempat nak lay eggs by this Conopomorpha caramella. And then second pest for cocoa, we have Helopeltis tiovora. Okay, we call it mosquito bugs. It's not actually mosquito, but it's a bug which is family Hemipterans. Okay, so bila sebut Hemipterans, they feed on plant sap. Okay, adult and knee suck the plant sap from cocoa pod and also cocoa shoot. Okay, it can cause a necrotic lesion where you can see that dekat pot tu ada nampak macam hitam-hitam. Okay, usually if the infestation happen during young stage, okay, dia akan menyebabkan buah tu gugur ataupun mungkin juga shoot akan kering dan mati, or we call it causing dieback. And then kalau for young fruit, selalunya kalau infestation tinggi, tak sempat dia nak berbuah, buah tu akan gugur. Okay. Maksudnya tak sempat nak harvest, tak sempat membesar lah, dia akan gugur waktu fruit set. Maksudnya waktu awal dia buah tu terhasil. And the adult, okay, this only live around 2 days. Dia punya life cycle, complete life cycle is only 20 days in summer. Maksudnya in area panas macam kita, it's around 20 days. But in area where receive winter, so they can extend the punya life cycle up to 16 days. So up to 60 days, maksudnya dia punya development lah lambat dekat area with winter. But around here, only around 20 days. Okay, this is the picture of the pest. Okay, this is what I call it necrotic lesion. Okay, you can see nampak macam kesan-kesan hitam-hitam ni because of the feeding activity by these bugs. Okay, the size is just a bit larger than mosquito. Size dia besar macam tu je. That's why they got the name as a mosquito bugs. Okay, it doesn't look like a mosquito, but the size is almost similar. And to control, we have DDT and malathion for chemical control. And biocontrol, we have hyperparasite and there are also other type of predator tadi. Kan yang kita tengok list of the predator banyak-banyak tadi tu also feed on this mosquito bugs. And for cultural control, it was advisable to plant the cocoa in area with having a high ratio of potash to phosphoric acid. Sebabnya dia kata kalau ada lagi tinggi potash berbanding phosphoric acid in the soil, ada kurang infestation of this pest. But of course, to prove this kind of statement, there are a few literature that you can read online lah. Okay, and then other pests of cocoa. Okay, here we have Zuzera coffeae, which is Coccidae. Okay, this is the larvae is actually Trambora. This is Lepidopterans. Okay, so the larvae will bore into the trunk. And we have odoratus compressus, which is scarabid, and Apogonia cribicolis, also scarabidae, which the adult feed on the leaf. And then beside that, previously we learned about hypomesis squamosus. As if you remember, okay, kita ada gold dust weevil, ingat tak yang bentuk colour kuning, like I said previously, yang feed on leaf of fruit plants. Okay, so hypomesis squamosus also one of the pests for cocoa as well. Okay, so ada 3 here. Adoratus compressus, Apogonia cribicolis, and then hypomesis squamosus is actually the pest atau insect that feed on the leaf. Okay, but 2 is from scarabidae, while another one, hypomesis squamosus, is actually Purcleonidae. Weevil, remember? Okay, and now we go to last one. Okay, we have stock product pests. Okay, first one we have Cytophilus oryzae. It's green weevil. Yang ni I'm sure everyone knows. Kalau pernah tengok foto yang tolong mak kamu masak nasi dalam beras, this is the one. Okay, it's a crucleonid, Cytophilus oryzae. And then you can read the characteristic by your own. Okay, I'm sure you semua orang pernah tengok lah for those yang pernah tolong mak kamu masak basuh beras . Okay, and then we have another one that you may found regularly in rice as well. It's Oryzophilus surinamensis. Okay, from different family, which is Sylvanid. Okay, this is the adult. Okay, the host, like I said, a copra, spice bean, and dried fruit, but you can easily found in our rice as well. Maksudnya sebelum yang kamu basuh tu lah. Okay, selalunya ada these 2 type of pests. Cytophilus oryzae and Oryzophilus surinamensis. As the name also dictate, yang dia ni sebenarnya adalah makan beras kan. Oryzae kat sini. Ni pun ada oryzae kat sini. Ingat kita punya beras nama tadi padi Oryza sativa. Okay, so the name got or the name also show that dia punya habit ataupun dia punya host tu apa. And then we have Tribolium castaneum from family Tenebronidae. This one usually very small. This one is castaneum is small lah, but I think you may how to say not for those yang mungkin rajin pergi kedai pet ataupun kedai yang jual selalunya aquarium lah, yang jual makanan untuk ikan. Kalau kamu perasan dia ada jual what we call it beetles, yang kita bagi makan ikan besar like arowana kan, larvae beetle yang panjang-panjang tu, it's actually from Tenebronidae punya family. It's just that it come from Tenebrio moliter, different species which is large size. Okay, yang selalu ada jual dekat kedai aquarium ataupun kedai ikan. Living kita panggil apa mealworm. I think mealworm, yes, mealworm. And then another one we have the one that specialize on bean. Okay, yang ni kalau mak kamu ada simpan kacang hijau especially lah kan, selalu kita buat bubur, right? So this pest Calosobruchus species, but the most common one is Calosobruchus maculatus. Okay, dia punya host adalah dekat all type of bean, chickpeas, lentils, cowpeas, all type of bean, especially yang saya kata kacang hijau ni. Okay, kadang kita beli tak nampak apa-apa, but if you left there a few mungkin 2-3 bulan tak guna kan, suddenly it will come out with bean yang ada lubang-lubang macam ni, and then already infested by the Calosobruchus maculatus. Okay, waktu kamu beli dia mungkin in form of eggs semata-mata dekat kulit. Dia will lay eggs dekat kulit kacang, tapi it may look like macam dust atau how to say, macam tumpuk-tumpuk putih sahaja, very small, but throughout the time, maksudnya 2-3 bulan lepas tu you will realise that dia dah ada start keluar lubang-lubang. This is caused by this kind of Calosobruchus maculatus. Previously, we put this Calosobruchus maculatus under weevil. Okay, because of the characteristic kan, muka dia nampak macam, kepala dia nampak panjang compare to other beetles. So we put it under weevil. But actually it's not a weevil. It's now was placed under family Bruchidae. Okay, their own family, but we call it as a pea beetle instead of pea pea weevil. But previously, kalau kamu search for literatures and so on, they still use the name weevil, but it's not Curculionidae anymore. And then we have Lasioderma sericon, cigarette beetle. Okay, even though here I put it as cigarette beetle, tobacco beetle and so on, you may find this insect or this pest if you have macam spice. Okay, sometimes the infested spice like black pepper. Okay, and then you also may found this insect infested your, kamu tahu keropok kan, kamu beli keropok yang kering tu sebelum kamu goreng. Okay, so this insect also feed on that kind of stock product as well as dry meat. Okay, so they have a lot of hosts, and this is the main feature. Kamu tengok kat sini, they're very small. Okay, most of the stock product pest is very small. And to control, okay, there is a tricky part where usually control using chemical insecticide cannot be done in household application. Maksudnya kat sini, if we are talking about chemical control, meaning that usually come in form of fumigation. So fumigation usually happen during the product in the storehouse. Maksudnya sebelum produk tu dijual ke customer. Okay, sebelum dijual ke pelanggan ataupun dijual kepada kita lah. So in the storehouse ataupun gudang, they will have a fumigation by spraying pyrethrin, resmetirin, erythrin and tetrametrin. This all treat this type of chemical. Cumanya kita tak guna this kind of chemical to spray in your household use lah. Maksudnya tak ada chemical insecticide to control this pest dekat rumah. And there are also pheromone traps. Similar, selalunya control ni berlaku dekat gudang. But if you want to control this pest in our house, it's mainly come from the cultural control where you need to do sanitation. You have to clean areas, sebab selalu dia duduk dekat kawasan-kawasan what we call it crack and crevices. Okay, you have to remove, eliminate all the infested fruit first, all infested food first, and then clean, vacuum regularly. That's all we can do in our house. But fumigation and pheromone trap usually apply to kawasan gudang. Okay, sebab fumigation ni maksudnya kamu kena spray so that the whole area, the whole gudang actually covered with fogs, with dust of pyrethrin or other type of materials sebelum distribute to customer or supplier and so on. Okay, so that's all part for the this lecture. So any question?